What's good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, what you should look out for the future. I'm also going to be talking about the CPI report that's coming out and how this may affect NIO going forward, and also what NIO put on their Twitter page, which is very bullish news for the long-term future of this company. Now, before I break anything down and get into any more details, I have to mention a couple of things before getting started. I am going to give you guys my NIO price prediction, but first I have to mention that I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice, and also if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. And not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the MooMoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for MooMoo with the link down below and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 10 free stocks, each worth up to $2,500. And the best part is, out of the 10 free stocks, 5 are going to come from the wheel right here, meaning you could get 5 free AMC shares, 5 free Tesla shares, 5 free Apple shares, and so on and so forth. It's a limited time offer. It ends in 4 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So I also apologize if the audio is not the best. You may hear some echoes and background noise as I am recording in a completely different location as usual. But anyways, I'm going to get started with the video because looking at NIO, this thing ended up dropping very hard. And I did mention this as a possibility, and I talked about this gap right here. Now, looking at NIO, this thing was down almost 9% for the day. It got destroyed, but it's not the end of the world because we also have this nice gap up here as well. So I want to talk about why did NIO drop the way it did. And we saw a lot of tech stocks taking a big hit after what unearthed reports in the markets were starting to price in. So if you don't know already, I talked about this on Saturday. I mentioned this yesterday as well. On Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, before the market opens on Wednesday, we have the CPI report coming out. If you don't know what CPI is, that's one of the major inflationary measures that economists and investors use when it comes to actually looking at the trajectory of the markets, the economy, the Fed, and so on and so forth. And this latest CPI report is projected to be very, very hot. What this means is that CPI takes into account energy a lot more than different sectors. So with that said, energy prices and inflation in itself appears to be being inflated again. And let me show you exactly how. This is gas prices essentially. This is the US all grades of all formulations of retail gasoline prices. You'll see right here, we've seen this major spike in gas prices. I'm sure you guys, when you fill your tanks, you know how expensive gasoline is. And you'll notice, okay, back in May, the average price for all grades of gasoline in the USA for retail was $4.55 back in May. Then June comes and it goes up to $5. So to compare the numbers side by side, I know these numbers are small. As I showed you guys in a previous video, we had $4.55 back in May, now $5 in June. So that's around a 10% increase. All right, so gas went up like crazy in June. All right, it went up like crazy. So as a result of that, and I'm sure you remember how high the price of gas has been, this is most likely going to inflate the inflationary data. What we're seeing right now is reports are expecting, including food and energy, an 8.6% inflation rate or CPI report. That is absolutely insane. And the problem is it going to be that high, or are we going to actually end up with a report that's higher than that? So tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video and break this down in a lot more detail because I'm going to show you what the price may do given the different reports that come out and how on earth we've historically reacted to these numbers. So that's what I'm going to do more for tomorrow, because tomorrow is the last day, the last full trading day before the report comes out, before the market opens on Wednesday. So with that said, the market's starting to price this in. The market looks kind of apprehensive, and it's not looking too great, in my opinion. So let me actually break this down for you as to what this means for NIO. Well, there are two things to look out for. All right. Number one is NIO has a gap down in the 19 range, right here. NIO also has a gap all the way up in the $22 range. I'm sure you guys could see this. And we're kind of in the middle right now. And the question is, which way are we going to go? Well, either way, we are going to head down, but it is possible for us to head up first and then drop down, or we might just continue with the sell-off. So the question is, what is more probable? What are we more likely to end up doing first before we see this trend continuing. Let's actually look at the SPY first and see what we could actually find. You'll notice the SPY was on a bit of an upward trend and starting to kind of downward trend from here. The SPY also happens to have this gap up here as well. So I could presume, because the market is moving in such unison, it has a tendency of doing that. Notice how the SPY and NASDAQ are both red. The whole market is essentially red as well. If the SPY fills this gap up here and starts pushing up, that's probably going to be the same time that NIO starts to push up and starts filling this gap up here. And if the SPY starts dropping hard, I do think NIO is going to drop down with it. So what is the SPY going to do? What is the NASDAQ going to do? Because they tend to run almost the same, but I like to do an analysis of the SPY. Right now, from a technical standpoint, the volume I'm going to be honest with everyone. Let me actually bring up the daily candles first before showing you this. When you look at SPY, all right, you're going to notice the volume is just dropping like crazy. The volume just isn't there. You'll notice we were pushing up on low volume. I mentioned this as a bearish possibility before, but I wasn't sure if we'd get a big spike in volume and start pushing up out of nowhere, because sometimes the market is just so unpredictable, or if we'd see this big decline. And right now it looks like we're going to be respecting a downward trend based off this big drop in volume, based off CPI and the second half of July probably being bearish, as I mentioned before. So for me personally, it looks more like we're going to see a bit of a continuation of this sell-off. Now, how are we going to sell off? I think that what could happen is we might get a bit of a relief bounce tomorrow into open, right? I think it's going to last a few hours. The SPY is going to push up. Then it's going to get a big rejection and it's going to start downward trending as we approach market close, in my opinion. And I think that's because, like I said before, it's the last full day before the CPI report comes out. The market's going to be apprehensive. The market does not like, uncertainty. The market doesn't like not knowing what's going to happen. So that's kind of like what I see happening for tomorrow. I do see a sell-off in the second half of tomorrow. And I do think this will have a negative effect on NIO and the overall market. Now, NIO was down really hard. I mean, it's already a little bit green in the after hours, so I do still stand by that. I predict that there are very bullish and bearish possibilities to look out for. I'm going to go over those possibilities. Then I'm going to give you guys my price prediction. So what's a more bullish possibility? And that is literally because NIO drops so hard. If this thing just manages to break 21 and holds that level, if we start testing like 20.5 and we actually trade sideways and manage to start pushing up, it's possible we'd be on our way to start filling the gap that formed at like around the 22 range. We'd be in that direction and we should hold up pretty well if this is what the chart suggests. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen. This is just a more bullish possibility, but like I said before, very unlikely. A more bearish possibility. This is not my prediction. Once again, it's just something you have to look out for. Let's say hypothetically, NIO starts to drop, okay, to like 20.2. If it can't hold 20.2, it's going to test 20. And if we lose control of 20, this thing is going to tumble down to 19 like this and fill the gap at 19. It's like at 19.3 or something. It doesn't matter. But this thing is going to take a big hit if we can't hold 20. I'm warning everyone right now about that. All right. This thing is going to drop to the low 19s if we can't hold that. Now, we're basically in the middle right now. What do I think NIO is most likely going to do? I don't see this thing dropping that hard that quickly. I think it's more likely that NIO is going to actually push up into open, right? We're going to get some temporary relief, maybe push up to like 21 point something, 21.3, right? Just a little bit. Then we're going to get a sell-off later on. And NIO is going to trade kind of sideways, similar to how it was today, but then it's going to start downward trending again. And we might see a slight red day again. And I do think NIO might end up testing or touching the low 20s. I know it's a little uncomfortable for people to hear that. I just think that's a lot more likely based off the trend we're seeing. And I do think that NIO is going to trace the SPY because I think the market's going to kind of sell off a bit because we're very uncertain about CPI. And the market has a tendency of just reacting in this manner when these things end up happening, right? So with that said, I mean, it's a little bit hard for people to hear this. It's what I essentially have to go off of. And I just find this as being the most probable possibility based off the trends and other factors like that. Now, to end this video, I don't want you to feel bad. I want you to know that this is a very good opportunity to buy more shares, to play the charts if you're trading, and to also look at what is going on. If you look at the data, all right, NIO has conducted its own probe into Grizzly's short seller report after it retains forensic accounting firm. So what's essentially happening is Grizzly made the claim that they believe that NIO was exaggerating their numbers and so on and so forth, and NIO denied it. No one had proof of anything or conclusive evidence to come to that full conclusion yet, and there's nothing that we could really say about it in full detail. So NIO is now conducting its own probe, so they're retaliating against what on earth was actually said against them. So this is very interesting to see how they actually react to this. I do think that NIO is, they're at least taking some action for their sellers, for their investors. So as a result, I would like to see how this really continues. But as of right now, just know that the allegations are not necessarily confirmed. We don't truly know if NIO is inflating their revenue and income. So it's one of those things we just need to wait and see how it goes before anything else continues. The last thing I wanted to talk about is this right here. NIO put on their Twitter page, from fresh to flash, feel free, reign like never before with the new NIO EC6. So you can see right here, the EC6 is a beautiful SUV. Looks very stylish, and it's a very bullish catalyst for the long-term future of this company and what it has in store. With that said and done, this is essentially what I'm predicting. I wish the best for all of you, and I'll most definitely see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon, and peace out.